Welcome back to Nick Lenz Movie Review, episode number 123. This is where I'm viewing the final film of the first phase of the MCU. This is overall, I believe it's a C. Iron Man, Cripple Hulk, Iron Man 2. This is the sixth film of the MCU. This is a film they built up for 4 years. Something I think the DCU films should have done. Instead of doing 2 films and then a group film. Well, 2 films, 1 group film that has nothing to do with them, and of course then just that was a really stupid thing they did. This of course is Avengers, released in 2012. There is one new, now in the case of this particular, they bring back all the superheroes who appear in all the movies. They bring back Chris Evans as Captain America, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. Now, the guy who plays Hawkeye, this is technically his second appearance, and kind of his first full appearance of appearing in a brief cameo. Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. Now, the Hulk is a brand new actor. Yes, they replaced Edward Norton with Mark Ruffalo, and he's been the Hulk ever since. We also see the return of Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts. She pops this movie. Let's see, who else? Clark Gray comes back in his second to last name appearance in the movies as Phil Coulson. He doesn't return to the movies until Captain Marvel, which is years before this film. Yeah, though this film did basically inadvertently set up the Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, which is airing its final season this year. Yep. We also see the return of Tom Hiddleston as Loki. I'll talk about him soon. We also see the return of Eric Stalvey. Yes, same actor. And aside from that, pretty much a bunch of returning characters. I would say there's only one new character in this whole movie, and that is Maria Hill. Yep, Maria Hill makes a return. We see the return of there's a group of people who do make a first appearance in here as well. I'll talk about them in a minute. Yes, the first live action character we make first appearance in this very film is of course Maria Hill, played by Kobe Smulders. This film is also famous for the live-action debut of the Avengers Tower. Yes, its first of several appearances in the MCU. It appears in this film, the following film. I believe it also appeared in Captain America Winter Soldier. And I think its last non-physical appearance was in Spider-Man Homecoming. Yes, that was the last non-physical appearance of Avengers Tower, but this is technically its first appearance. Yep. The film starts off, oddly enough, in Project Pegasus, another basically location known for it. This movie is his first live action appearance. Project Pegasus in the comics now in the film it's basically a facility associated with S.H.I.E.L.D. In the comics, it has nothing to do with S.H.I.E.L.D. at all. It's a government-run facility, which is run by the government. At one point in the comics, the Thing was chief of security of the place. It made frequent appearances in the Marvel 2-1 comic book, Fantastic Four, and definitely the Avengers. Yeah, in the case of this film, there is technically nobody associated with Project Pegasus who appears in this very movie. Project Pegasus in the movie is this gigantic building. It has 4 underground layers, and one of the projects this plays is to study the Tesseract. I forgot to mention this when I talk about Thor, is that they actually have its first official appearance in the post-credit scene for Thor, where you see Eric Stalvey basically being watched by Loki. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Yeah, apparently the place is being evacuated to see Nick Fury and, of course, Maria Hill for the first time. Yep. And, they're seeing the evacuation place because something is going on with the Cosmic Cube. Yep. And then we see Nick Fury interact with Eric Stalvey, first time in the movie he's ever interacted with him. And then he says, asking where's Barton? He says, in this nest. And then he's like, Agent Barton, come down here, please. And of course he talks to Doctor's clean. Of course we see someone go on the cube. And then a portal opens up. Yes, while they're talking. And then a person appears comes to the portal. Who is it? It's frickin' Loki. Yep, Loki. Oh, there is one other character that makes his first live action experience in the film. I'll get to him when I talk about the infamous post-credit scene and the fact they changed the guy's actor right after this movie. Yep. And those appearance of the character, the other, who did make a return in one other film before he got killed off. Yep. This film was also the famous appearance of the. Now, there's one alien species. Yes, we have aliens pop up in this movie. Well, not killing corpse. Yes, the Shatari, who were notorious for being characters who popped up in the Ultimate Universe. Yep. Though this version of the Shatari did show up in the comic books in the pages of Nova. Yep, that's where they first showed up in the stock working Nova. Now, in case you're wondering, who directed this film? It was Joss Whedon, the guy behind shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel. As a matter of fact, the guy who plays the in this movie is played by an Angel alumni. He played Wesley Wyndham Price. Yeah, that actor. The actor who plays the other, I'll look up the guy's name here because he appears in this movie and he appears in the later movie. The other is played by, let's see if I can find him here. It's Alex of, yeah, I don't remember the guy's name. He played, Alexis Densnov plays the other. Yeah. Who was in the comics. I did not know this. Apparently he is from the comics. He is Kathu. Yeah. He's going by his other alias. Yeah, that's technically who this guy is, though they don't really confirm this is really him, just got the summer name. Yeah, I think originally this guy was supposed to be a nihilist, but they changed it to this other guy who appears in, like, a few scenes. Loki, of course, takes his staff, which, yeah, as for where he got this staff, it's later revealed in another movie that he got this from Thanos. Yeah. I'll talk about him soon when I get to the end of the movie. So he basically takes his staff, just touches Eric Stalvig, brainwashes him, and he does it to Hawkeye, does it to several other soldiers, and apparently everybody's turned, so, yep. And, well, then they try to escape from the facility. Of course, the facility is later brought down by Nick Fury himself, and they all just race out of the building, try to shoot each other up, though it doesn't go much any place. And basically, Murray Hill is trapped, so basically, Coulson has to call in the troops, call them in. So, first person that calls in is Natasha Romanoff, aka the Black Widow, who's going to a reverse interrogation with a bunch of Russians. And then she's basically over a hole, and, well, I do know about the sort of fan edit of this scene where, yeah, for some reason, someone edited it where it looked like Scarlett Johansson was giving a blowjob. I am not kidding about that. I'm not going to repeat what the heck that is. It's just that it's something that somebody did, and I think was kind of dumb for them to do. Yeah. And why did they decide to do for this particular scene? I have no idea. They're just basically trying to interrogate her, figure out why. They know about her reputation as a Black Widow. She's wearing, of course, a black dress, and of course, they took off her shoes, obviously, for her hole. And their phone rings, and then, apparently it's Coulson. It's like, can you put the redhead on the phone, please? And then, of course, yeah, apparently it's reverse interrogation. It's like, and it's like, so we have a situation, we have to call them all in. And of course, can you hold on for a second? And then she beats the guys up, and then you have to call in the guys, call in the big one, what? You want me to get Stark? No, I want you to call in the big guy. He's like, what? Yeah, and who is she sent after? The Hulk. Yes, the Black Widow is sent after the Hulk. And of course, Coulson goes after Iron Man. Okay, fine. Nick Fury goes to recruit Captain America himself, obviously. So, they have that scene, the post-credit scene from Captain America First Avenger pop up in here. And, well, mostly It's the same exact scene. It's just basically a teaser for this movie. For this movie. In the case of Iron Man, basically Clark Gregg sort of hacks Jarvis so he can talk to Tony, and well, Tony is basically first seen in his Iron Man suit, installing a pipe to his building, a arc reactor building, which is basically the Avengers Tower, which has Stark on it, though they do change it for the later movies. And we see Pepper there. They're having a conversation, have a moment, possibly like saying that we named this building Potts instead of Stark. And there's a joke about, you have reached the light mile decoy of Tony Stark. Please call back. And of course, Coles insists. So he just hacks Jarvis, and he's able to get in. Of course, he tells him about the Avengers, and it's just like, I thought it was shut down because of his ego. He's like, yeah, but we're reacting because we got a big crisis. So because he had homework, so basically they have to go to DC, get the sort of approved. So they escort him to the airport, well, close to the airport, and of course, well, they mentioned about his cello girlfriend here, which, believe it or not, they actually reveal who this girlfriend is on an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, and it's really played by, I kid you not, the actress who played by Amy Acker, which I'm like, that's typical Whedon. He loves reusing his actors in all other works. Having Amy Acker play the cellist is a brilliant stroke of genius on the part of Whedon. Now, I think it was Whedon who probably set this up, and probably one of the writers of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. basically explored this when they had the character Blackout show up on the show. But yeah, it's Amy Acker. She's the one who plays Shell's girlfriend. She's mentioned here, and she's mentioned in a later scene. Like, she mentioned, oh yeah, she moved back to Oregon. Yep. Pretty much this whole conversation helps set up an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's the whole point of it. Yep. And then, of course, they go off, and of course, as for the Black Widow, finds Bruce Banner in India, of all places. Keep it a little purifying, manages to keep himself off the satellites. So, like, and of course, Black Widow's like, yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D. made sure that the military stay have your back. So we have to basically ask you, because the thing is like the game radiation, we want you to, like, what do we want to do? Swallow it? No, we want you to track it. Okay. So, they're all brought to, let's see, yeah, they're pretty much all brought in to, but except Iron Man's brought in later, they're all brought into the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, which, this is another thing that makes this first official live action experience. And, well, they pretty much use a similar design they used in the Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. movie. It's a similar design, but it's a much better look for the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier than it does in, like, that show. It's like, can you step inside for a minute? It's like, what? Are we going on the water? Submarine? It's like, you want me to get on the water in the submarine? And that's when they realize that the ship can actually fly in the air. This helicarrier actually returned for Age of Ultron, and that's it. Yeah, it pops up for like one other movie, and that's pretty much it. Though it did also pop up for an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Season 2, and that's last scene of this helicarrier. Yep. And they're basically kind of like meeting each other for the first time. You have Captain America meeting, well, Hulk, well, Bruce Banner for the first time. We also have the fact that apparently Coulson is a big fanboy of Captain America. And these vintage cards you want him to sign. Yep. Okay, fine. So they track down they get on board, and they all track down like where the pitch they're gonna go. So they need these particular objects. So they go to Germany. Yep. And this, of course, is present-day Germany. And apparently we have Loki set up this special base with Eric Stalvig and Hawkeye. So says, I need, like, he says he basically like we need to break and get this particular object, and he says, I need a favor, I need an eyeball. And Loki's probably like, that's pretty simple. So basically he just waltzes into an opera hall, finds a scientist, basically removes his freaking eyeball from his freaking skull, and then gets scanned, and that's how Hawkeye breaks in. Cap shows up, and like when they have Loki come outside for a distraction so Hawkeye can get away, and he says everybody to kneel, and then Cap shows up in his brand spanking uniform. Yeah, this particular uniform was from what I've heard, not a very popular look for him. It's an okay look. It's mostly put a similar look he had his first costume, except they added a silver stripe to his sleeves. That's all they pretty much did with it. It's like they took his first costume he had from the first film and simply gave him a striped sleeve. That's all they did with the costume. Plus, they gave him a new helmet. Or the mask, anyways. Yeah. So he battles him for a brief period of time, and then and then we have Black Widow in the sky, and all of a sudden the intercom is hijacked by frickin' Stark and plays some AC/DC. Okay, because he loved coming into music. Yep. And then of course, and then of course they have a brief fight, and then of course they have Iron Man meeting Captain America first time, and of course after that goes like, and of course you have Iron Man says Captain, and you have Captain America says Mr. Stark. I thought that was so funny. And of course they got on the plane, and then of course they have Loki all tied up, and then this is where Thor makes the appearance. Yep, Thor shows up like there's like a bunch of lightning. It's like, are you afraid of thunder? He's like, no, I'm afraid what comes after that. He's like, what? And then Thor breaks into the back, takes Loki. Apparently got on the cliffside. Apparently how he got here is explained that apparently Odin used some dark magic as a Bifrost bridge to sell damage from the Thor movie. And then Iron Man shows up, has a brief scuffle with with Thor, and they make a joke about Shakespeare in the park. And then they fight, and of course they have Thor using his lightning on Iron Man. It's like, oh, 1,000%. Why, thank you for the power boost. And then Cap shows up and has Thor bashes Mjolnir on Captain America's shield and knocks it forwards. And you have all three of them saying, well, are we done? And then they all go back to Helicarrier. Of course, you have, obviously enough, you have Thor's cape that disappears. It's never explained why. So, me now reading this briefing table, which and of course, Stark basically is on board, and it's like, how did they do these things? And of course, he says, he turns. Okay. And at this meeting table, we have Cap, Iron Man, Thor, Bruce Banner, and Black Widow. That's simply who's at the table. Hawkeye comes a little bit later. And they're all discussing it, and of course you have Iron Man making a Wizard of Oz reference, what he's saying is flying monkeys, and of course Kev's like, I know that reference because he's probably seen Wizard of Oz. Of course he has, because he was born that period of time. He disappeared in 1944. Mm-hmm. And of course, they have a conversation, and of course it leads into, you have Bruce Banner interacting with Iron Man for the first time. And, they're looking over Loki's staff, and they start arguing. All of a sudden, you have Bruce Banner having the staff in his hand. And apparently, you also have Scarlet Witch talking to Loki in his special cage. Oh, yeah, apparently this cage was designed to hold the Hulk. Yeah, the Hulk. Okay. Yeah, and this, of course, this is so funny. And he refers to the thing as an ant, and he refers to the button he can push basically to drop this thing, ant boot. Because he's basically poking fun of a line that Loki says, basically, I can crush you like a freaking ant with my boot. He's like, well, okay, do anything to that glass? Opens it up, says, do anything to that? I'll drop you, I think it's 20,000 feet, I think it is. Yep, I thought this was so funny. Yep. And later on, you have Scarlet Witch talking to him for a while. Of course, talking about Red in her ledger. Yeah, this is something that actually doesn't really go anywhere in this movie. And there's a mild, you think it might go into her backstory. And then, she kind of reveals, his plan is to unleash the Hulk. Okay. So they talk for a while, and then, of course, Hulk comes out by accident, and you have the shirt ripping. I thought this was a lot better. This transformation sequence, it's a heck of a lot better than it was in the Incredible Hulk movie, because he ripping the shirt. This is actually a nod to the Incredible Hulk TV show, where his shirt's always ripped. Though they don't mention the fact his pants also kind of ripped too, whenever he transforms into the Hulk. And of course, Hulk chases Scarlet Witch to the corridor, and then you have Thor come in, and you have them fighting on this lower ground. They fight for a very good period of time, and then Hulk gets shoved out, and then it's shot by a jet. It's like, hey Jack, like like, and of course it's like so fun. It's like try to shoot at him, this hole in the side of the ship, and then he jumps out. It's like eject, 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 and of course he gets out, and Hulk tries to stop him, but doesn't go to a place. He of course gets knocked off someplace else. Thor tries to stop Loki. He gets out of the cage, and then of course he's also confronted by Phil Coulson, who apparently has basically got this destroyer gun, and you left the destroyer behind after you sent it to Earth, so we built this special gun. And then he gets stabbed by Loki, and then Loki, he actually shoots Loki, doesn't do much anything to him. Like, oh, that's what it does, and apparently he dies. In case you're wondering, this gun actually returns from an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the final episode of Season 1. What does it with it? Destroy John Garrick as becomes his comic counterpart. Yep, that's what he doubles with. And that's the last you see of the Destroyer gun. It never returns ever again. It pops up in this film and pops up in the final episode of Season 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's the last see of it. And Coulson's death will do one thing. Set up the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, which has a revival. How he came back is one of the most bizarre explanations they have in the show. Like, even if he got stabbed in the freaking heart by Loki, how he comes back is particularly very strange. Apparently, he was injected with the blood of a dead Kree. Yeah, that's how they kind of explain the show, and that's how he miraculously was resurrected. And apparently, this procedure was authorized by Nick Fury. Yep. And basically, he was dubbed an Avenger because of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this, of course, was not revealed until the end of Season 1 of the show. Yeah, that's one of the mysteries of the show. Like, how the heck did Coulson come back from the dead? Yeah. Some suggest maybe a heart transplant, but nope, he was injected with freaking Kree blood. They also use this thing to go into Daisy Johnson. Yep. And, of course, the whole thing about Coulson being dead, and, of course, everybody being mad. So they all come together to basically defeat Loki. And apparently Loki is show up in New York City, of all places. Yeah, he's basically shrouded into the Avengers Tower, put his cosmic cube on top of Avengers Tower along with Eric Stavig. And, Hawkeye came on board. How this whole thing of the Hulk being merged is that Hawkeye, this is possessed Hawkeye, shoots one of the engines with a exploding arrow. One arrow takes out one of the engines. And then you have, Nick Fury is like, tilting his head like, what? Why am I seeing this? Why is the sun setting over here? It should be over here. So turn, and he tells the engine like, turn the damn ship. And also, there's a funny thing I forgot to mention when Iron Man's in the scene. He says that man's playing Gallagher. And of course, he's hiding it. And then later on, he's playing Gallagher. Okay, I thought that was so funny. And of course, he also hacked Nick Fury's database. Cap also looks around and finds Hydra weapons. Yes, he finds Hydra weapons and Hydra suits. As for why S.H.I.E.L.D. has this, I have no idea. This is probably just setting up the Winter Soldier movie. That's probably my guess what this is doing. And in the case of what goes on with Iron Man, this does not, the stuff with him in this movie does not set up what happens in Iron Man 3. No, it actually does not. And this stuff with Thor in the movie does not set up Thor in the Dark World. Nope. It just said this movie does lead some seeds into Winter Soldier, but not very much. Yeah, then of course you also see Cap and Iron Man taking out these invaders. And of course Cap using a gun for the first. Now Cap is not known for using guns. And he uses a semi-automatic, pow, 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 pow. Even though guns in the movies are basically all holding the trigger for a long time. He just shoots one at a time. Probably that's how he was used to when he was practicing military training in World War II. He takes them all out, and of course beats them up and of course uses his shield. And also Iron Man also saves the ship as well by taking out the thing that was debris that was blocking the shield. And so Shield carrier gets saved, and of course they can't exactly take it out. So with Tony. And of course, they hope about Hulk show up. And as for what happens with Hawkeye, he get knocked the head by Black Widow after a brief fight with him. He's perfectly fine. And Cap is we gotta stop Loki. So he takes Widow and Hawkeye. He's got a suit. He said, yeah, suit up. And of course, they steal a Quinjet, which they actually keep after this movie. Yep, they keep it. So they go down to Manhattan, and then of course, well, Hulk and Thor show up. Takes a little while. Thor is basically briefly hesitating about picking up his hammer, but then eventually does pick it up. And they all meet up in New York, meet up at an area of New York I've actually been to. Yeah, one of the areas they go to is, I believe it's, I think it's Grand Central Station. I think it is the line sculpture thing that they go through. Yep. And of course, Iron Man's like, so somebody like telling Jarvis like, tell me a weak spot, and he's like, I'm bringing the party to you. He's like, and Widow's like, that's a party? It's one of the Shatari whales. And of course, they take out some of the first wave, and they take this thing out with a combination of the Hulk and Iron Man. And Loki is like, of course, he opened up in the portal in the sky, and he's like, send the rest. So basically, the plan is this, and Cap is the one giving all the orders. Basically, Iron Man and Cap, like Hawkeye, basically give out like commands. Thor basically he's basically told to try to figure out a way to close that portal. And what does he do? He claims the type of the Chrysler Building. Yes, the freaking Chrysler Building to do this. Hulk basically like get them in like, and of course Tony basically try to figure out like a weakness to the troops. Black Widow and him basically get troops around, and he says to Hulk like, and Hulk, and of course he just grabs him. He's like angry, like Hulk. Smash. He smiles and he jumps away. I thought it was so funny. And almost anytime I see this moment, I'm like laughing like crazy, like, yes. And of course, Iron Man, basically, him, I think it's like him, Iron Man, and Thor just have fun killing a bunch of these, like, take out all these Shatari like crazy. And you have Widow basically take out one of the flyers to take on Loki. And of course, you have Iron Man eventually goes to his own tower. You also see him, this second time he does, he just gets up the tower, it's like this little spinny thing, removes his entire arm, which this thing does reappear in the Age of Ultron. Removes his armor, has a conversation with him. Yep, has a conversation with him. Like, just takes up the armor, like, oh, you're in my house now. Points up a drink. And he's like, oh yeah, we're the Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Like, I have an army, of course Loki's like, I've got an army, we've got a Hulk. Yep. Yeah, then of course, well, then eventually Hulk gets up the tower later on, and then the most funniest scene in the whole movie is like, I am a god, you better bow to me. And then Hulk just basically grabs him by the legs and just whack, 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 whack. And then he's like, oh. And then Hulk walks away and says, puny god. Which I thought was so funny. Yep. Now, in case you're wondering, now, it seems like in this film, like, every single person, like, all the Avengers all get a chance to beat up Loki. And Loki remains in this penthouse the whole rest of the movie. Eventually, the portal eventually closed, thanks to the Black Widow and Loki's his spear. Though the World Security Council, who make the first appearance in this movie, though they also appear for Winter Soldier, and they're mentioned in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they're not mentioned Age of Ultron, though. Yeah. Who the heck the World Security Council is in the movie? Now, from what I know about the World Security Council is that they're the people who are the permanent members of the UN, and they're basically the ones who govern the UN. In the film, they're a bunch of people. You don't see who they are. The leader of the group is later Gillian Malik, who's the actual leader. Yeah, they actually confirmed this in episode 8 of S.H.I.E.L.D., that Gillian Malik is the one in the middle. Yeah. As for the rest of the people well, they kind of reveal who these people are in Winter Soldier. Which returned the World Security Council. We actually view faces. And of course, well, yeah, and of course they made a decision. And Nick Fury's like, the World Security Council wants to talk. He's like, okay, fine, what the heck they want. They're like, we made a decision. He's like, and he says, I've seen you made a decision, and I've chose. Yes, he made a stupid decision. I've chosen to ignore it. Yeah, he's like, that's the island of Manhattan. We're not going to drop a nuclear weapon on it. Just because. So, yeah, and then, of course, you have a couple, like, jets, like, oh, yeah, Nick Fury is no longer in control, so World Security Council orders these two jets. Like, first was taken out by freaking Nick Fury by a freaking bazooka, which somehow he got access to. Well, probably can because he's freaking Nick Fury. Takes it out, and, of course, he contacts Stark, like, hey, we have, like, a nuclear weapon coming in Manhattan. Can you redirect it, please? Like, sure. So he redirects to the freaking hole, And yeah, it takes out the rest of the forces, and then it's like he's like close the portal, and the portal closes. He managed to get out perfectly in time, and then of course Thor's about to basically use him to go up and save him, and then the Hulk comes in and saves him too. Yep, saves him, and of course, well, and then like all surround you have Hulk, Thor, and Cap surrounding Iron Man, and of course you have Hulk takes off. I think it's Hulk takes off Iron Man's like face of his helmet, and he's like, and of course he roars. It's like, oh, I hope nobody kissed me. So that was so funny. It's like, I know Sora plays not far from here. It's like, and Thor's like, well, we had to deal with Loki first. Okay, deal with Loki, and then Swarma. And then everybody managed to get up there somehow, and they all surround him. It's like, he's looking like, I surrender. Okay, I thought it was actually quite funny. And eventually it's like, and then What's the Kind pops up again later. So apparently the What's the Kind is not happy with the Avengers, where they apparently allow Thor to take back the Tesseract and Loki, a war criminal, yeah, back to Asgard, because he is citizen of Asgard, so he's supposed to be tried by the Asgardians. So technically, what Thor is doing is perfectly legal. What the World Security Council is doing is basically act like a play dicks in the matter. Well, not nice people about it. And basically, you have Hulk, Bruce Banner go up with Iron Man, basically setting up something for Iron Man 3. You have Hawkeye and Black Widow doing their own thing. What happens to Hawkeye in this movie? Well, he doesn't return again. Yeah, for some reason that he was. Now, I will talk about this Winter Soldier. But yeah, his next actual appearance is in Age of Ultron. Black Widow's next appearance? Winter Soldier. Yep, that's where he shows up next. Yeah. Nick Fury, of course, also returns for Winter Soldier. Yep. Thor, of course, returns with Loki in Thor the Dark World. As Murray Hill, she also returns for Winter Soldier. Like, pretty much almost everybody who's not Iron Man, Thor, like any of the big name characters who do not appear in other movies, like, with the exception of Thor and Iron Man and Hulk, almost everybody else shows up in Captain America. Though people tend to wonder, like, why couldn't Hawkeye help about, like, Iron Man or Thor in their movies? Yeah, it's never explained why Hawkeye can't pop in these other movies. Yeah, it's particularly very weird. So we have two post-credit scenes here. The first one, this is the first one to do this, because, with the exception of Iron Man 3, they generally have two post-credit scenes every movie since this film came out. The first one is just the other talking to frickin' Thanos, who's got brown skin here. Yes. Now, it was revealed until about a couple years ago of who the heck was playing Thanos here. Yeah. Thanos was played by... Damian Plotter, yes. He's the one who played Thanos in this movie. Yeah, he played Thanos. Though he was later replaced by Josh Brolin in Guardians of the Galaxy. Why he was replaced for, no idea. Though at least I gotta praise the fact, even though you see him briefly for his brief cameo, you see for his face, yeah, that's very common for Thanos. Because Jim Starlin, his creator, loves having close-ups of Thanos' face. I appreciated the acting of his face correct. I love to keep his helmet. I did not like the color of his skin. That's the only thing they got wrong here, because in this film it's brown. Though looking up at the next time he shows up, his skin is back being purple. The second post-credit scene was shot after the LA premiere of this film, was basically the Avengers having Swarma. Yep, you have Cap basically doing this with his hand. Yeah, the reason is because after this film came out, he grew a beard. Yep, because that's the thing with Chris Evans, like, whenever he's not playing Captain America, he grows a full frickin' beard, though he did have beard in Avengers Infinity War. You also have Clint and Hawkeye, but you have Hawkeye and Black Widow sitting next to each other. It was implied these two are thinking for each other, but we need to throw out the window with Age of Ultron revealing that Hawkeye's got a family. Yep, he's got a family. And they're all just sitting there just having all this swarma. Like, nobody saying anything. It's an okay scene, but at least they followed up with something that was set up in the action itself. But as for the film as a whole, it's really fun. And the third, like the Battle of New York, is the best scene in the whole movie. And they actually visited this particular scene in Endgame, though there's actually a lot of expansion, like almost like a lot of unseen stuff that was shown for this ending because they actually have a time jump in this movie, like about a few out, like a couple days. Lucky enough, Endgame does fill in that little gap. Yep. Excuse me. Where something ends the first phase of MCU, really good. This movie, a 9.5 out of 10, really good. Yeah, fantastic movie. Okay, so yeah, because I got to talk about something for 35 minutes, I'm gonna save the next movie review for tomorrow. Yeah, because I want to get back to other stuff. Okay, so that's it for this particular review. Tomorrow, I'm only planning on doing probably about 2 movie reviews tomorrow. Nothing to do with MCU because I want to take a brief break from the MCU because I just finished the first phase. So why not do a couple of standalone movies for our next review? Now, what movie in the next review? Hook. I'll talk about this awesome movie in my next view, which will be episode 124. Okay? See you next view. Bye.